What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Baskar Breaks, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 2006 Jabba's Sail Barge. This is quite the set, especially when you compare it to the 2013 one, which is significantly more disappointing when you compare to this set right here. So if at any point you do end up enjoying today's video, please feel free to show your support with a like, and maybe even consider subscribing if you are enjoying my content. I just like to apologize for not uploading too much recently. I've been very busy, literally have not been able to record, but I am back here, and with this set I have been wanting to review for so long. This is the very first vintage Lego Star Wars set, or at least old, I've ever gotten in my collection. So it's one of my favorite sets that I own. So here is the box here. Let's take a look at the back, and if you are familiar with old boxes, you know that they are always awesome to take a look at, especially on the back, because they have all this neat stuff. So there are some alternate builds right there. We're going to take a closer look at the instruction manual. There you can see some of these sets that are out in the time. They show off some of the features of the set, and then another picture there. Give you some more quick pictures of the box here. And the mini figures up top there. So this is the box to this set. I am so unbelievably pleased to have the box. Even though it's not in the most perfect condition, just owning it is incredible on its own. But let's take a quick look at the back of the instruction manual. Alright, so I said we're only going to be taking a look at the back of the instruction manual, but it's definitely worth taking a look at the normally inside. Now, while you go through the building process, it is very easy to miss pieces, because you can see a lot of pieces that are being put down, they don't really show you. You have to really look very carefully. I hope you can see this pretty well. Also, interestingly, they tell you to put in minifigures as the building process continues. As part of the steps almost. So throughout the instruction manual, they are in there. So, and just some quick couple of things to look at. Here's a better look at some of the sets are at this time. You have the Star Destroyer Slave 1, B-Wing, A-Wing, and TIE Interceptor, excuse me. A little weird kind of thing that my mouth did. There you have some advertisement right there. And let's take a look at the, oh no, I lost them. Let's take a look at let's try to stay at the alternate builds, as they are incredibly interesting. Start down here with Jabba's Palace, made out of only the parts from this set. And oh my gosh, how cool is that? That is Jabba's sail barge, and turned into a Jabba's Palace. Look at that. And all the minifigures are included to make that a proper thing. That is awesome. That's a pirate ship, and that is some weird, actually, do those go together? Oh wait, I think that those might actually go together. Oh wow, look at that. So you can build a pirate ship and a little fish, and not a little, but a big fish thing. Alright, so that is cool. But this set is more than just box instruction manual. Let's start off taking a look at these smaller builds in this set. Alright everyone, so we're going to start taking a look at the Scarlet Pit here. Now, before we get into the specifics of this, you have to keep in mind that this is, in all the other Scarlet Pits we've gotten past this, I'm very sure that this is the first one that have been made. Those were one of two main builds. This is just a small side thing, so it is naturally going to be smaller than the ones that we have nowadays. Taking that into consideration, it's not awful, I must say. I'm not super of a fan of all those holes around there. This does spin around. There are some nice textured bricks and some nice sloping done around it here. There are no tentacles, which is a little bit of a shame. You have to remember this was also 2006. You can, of course, open up the mouth. Yeah, you can put a figure in there, kinda. So, You know, it's not the greatest thing ever. It's a very simple build. It's very easy to build. It's a little bit of a pain putting all of those on, all those little fang pieces, and aligning those perfectly. But this is not an awful thing. It works, and it scales well with the skiff, which we're going to take a look at here. This is believed to be the second skiff ever made. It's smaller, once again, because this comes with a sail barge. Keep that in mind. You're getting this along with the sail barge. Compared to nowadays, you do probably have to just buy the two individually. Now this is some clear bricks, just with a little bit of sand, so you can place it there and just allows you to move it around easier if you wish to do so. Let's start up with the front here. There is a sticker right up in the front on this nice curved brick. There is quite a bit of space to pose figures here. This gives you a nice amount of room. Of course, you have the famous plank, which you put your thumb on that, and there you go. It's a decently sized plank. My biggest complaint about this set is that it doesn't scale too well with the Scarlet Pit. You know, it can tend to bend down a little bit. It's not a huge deal. Like, it does it good enough, but the character really has to jump into the Scarlet Pit instead of just falling down into it, which would make it a little bit easier to escape. Now let's put that back in there. Nice railings. There's a little stickered control panel there with a spot for a minifigure. These can be adjusted if you like, but I of course am gonna keep them in their canonically accurate pose there. So, no, overall, this uses not too many pieces, but it really gets the job done in my opinion. It gives you a skiff. You can pose figures on it. You know, there's good spots here. I do appreciate them adding a little bit of spot, and then having some nice and tiled down. Of course, they probably have to have that there anyway, but really the shaping's good here. It may not be like super good in nowadays standards, but I think it does get the job done now. This was the skiff and the Scarlet Pit here. Now what we're gonna do next is take a look at the Jabba's sail barge itself. So I'm gonna have to widen the shot here, and let's go get the sail barge out. Alright, so to take a look at the exterior details, I am holding the camera here. I am not too experienced in doing so. Apologize if you see an unnecessary finger in there. We will put the camera back on back in a more stable position to take a look at the interior. But for now, because you know it's kind of big and long, we're just gonna do this. So let's start off from the top and make our way down. Starting up here, we have these very big cloth pieces. My one complaint about the actual sail barge is that they're too low. We'll take a better like that in a second, but you know, it's a little bit of a pain getting those on, but once you do it, they stay together very nicely. Now, just for the sake of seeing and being able to visualize, we are going to remove them here for the larger portion of all of this, just so we can see what's going on. Quick disclaimer, that is not the right piece. But you know, it's still tan, but it is not the right piece. That is the one missing part of this set. But I mean, like, not missing, but it doesn't really ruin the aesthetic of it too much. It just allows less light to be made into there, but I will make sure that you're able to see into there. Well, here's the cannon, which a minifigure can man. I can assume that you would put minifigure's hand there. It can rotate all around. It has a very nice range of articulation. You can go down a little bit to shoot at the skiff. You have a nice little step here. They use these nice flexi tubes for some nice railing throughout. This is just kind of more of, I think, just for visualization. My apologies for that jump cut. A very loud airplane just flew right over my place of residence. As I was saying, that it's just like a little bit of a detail. It's a little, you can move that up, but it's a little bit difficult. So that doesn't really have too much use in that sense. Here is the catapult. It's meant for Boba Fett to make him fly, but realistically, you can put anyone you want up there. So move these aside here so we can move down here and take a little bit closer look. When I got this, I do believe the stickers were pre-applied, so my apologies if I did try to get to rearrange some of them. So yeah, so Here's the exterior. A lot of these can be flipped up. Once we open it up to look at the interior, I'll show you that a little bit more. I like those pieces. This has some very nice angles to it. By the way, the other side looks pretty much identical. This is brilliant, using all of those pieces to do that. The modern one uses like actual plates, and it uses so much more pieces that gets such a great shape using so much more less, and I do like that little bit of detail here. So overall, this is a very beautiful model because I am holding this with one hand, and I have only one. I'm sorry, because I have only one hand free. I cannot show you the exact handling of this, but trust me when I say this is very easy to handle. As on the top here, you get loads of good places to put minifigures here. Now, let's go take a look at the interior details. Alright, so let's go take a look at what's inside before a lot of these can actually be lifted up, so if you can do that there. So a lot of these can. These two cannot. These are only two on the side. That's only so that is connected. Let's take a look at the kitchen area. We will be turning this around so you can see what's on the other side, but the first you just have a little bit of a jail cell here, which you can just open that up. I do believe that you might be able to, supposed to be, oh no, you can. Alright, so you can just take that right off there, which is very helpful. In fact, I didn't actually even just realize that until right now. I completely forgot about that. But it does allow you to get some top access if you want to place figures in there. But great thing about the sail barge, most of the details are all right up here on the edges, which is a brilliant design solution as it makes it that so you can get your fingers in there at the at all the details a lot easier. This is the kitchen. Of course, we have some meat, a snake, some sort of spider, and one of the famous Jabba the Hutt frog kind of things. I forget exactly what they're called. It was currently upside down. I think it might be a little bit of faucet and a pan. I do like that trans color. Now this really does give like a gross kind of feel to it, which is I think accurate to the Jabba character itself. Now let's try to move on. I'll just move the camera over to here. Did forget to mention these, which are nice. And here I think only the two up here can actually be lifted up. Yeah. Now looking at here, this is where Jabba himself hangs out. We're gonna take a look at the figures in a moment. But here is where Leia is attached because she is enslaved at this time. You just slap Jabba right in there. There's nice hollow space over here where his tail can sit, and he goes in there very well with his kind of snacking thing right there. But while the figures are in there, at some point once I'm done looking at the figures, we will likely come over here to show you that when you put Jabba in there, he can look out at his prisoners being eaten. But I'm gonna go turn this around and let's go take a look at the other side. Alright, so here's the other side. We're just gonna start off, here's the other side to the prison cell there. So that's nice. Now here's the weapon rack. There is supposed to be another one of these bullhorn blasters in there, but Boba has it. I love the inclusion of 4 weapons in this set that are not specifically given to anybody. So you have 4 extra blasters. Not only can now, of course, when I'm talking about play value, this is of course a very collectible set. So I'm talking about when this was in stores, when kids had this. Keep that in mind. But when kids had this, I think this is great. This just gives them some extra weapons to use with other figures and figures in this set. They want to change up, and it really, gives kids more opportunities. Oh my, for play in this. So, yeah. So we also get these larger blasters. These were the main 2 types of blaster that they use these days. This kind of uses more of like a camera piece, but it gives you a nice kind of longer blaster there. I must say though, I am super impressed with the interior details in this model. They all add great value to the set. Do think that is an upside down sticker. My apologies, that will have to be fixed. This just gives you some other access in there. Maybe you can line up some more figures in there, and the same windows open on this side. So You know what? That is the interior of this, honestly. I love this interior. This is one of my favorite interiors of the Lego sets that I own. I think the kitchen is done well. The prison cell is a nice addition. Weapon racks and the place to put Jabba. So, that's great. Let's take a look at all of the minifigures in this set, though. Alright, so the first character we're looking at Jabba the Hutt. I apologize of how much light is hitting this character. I have tried to fix it. Believe me, this is the best that I can do in terms of lighting for this guy. He's just kind of shiny. But now for the time, this is not awful. He definitely looks a little silly in today's. Very silly. The tail is a little bit it's not as thick as it should. Lots of studs for connections, which is nice. He has his posable arms, so if you want to give Jabba a weapon, maybe, his tail does connect in two segments right there, just gives a little extra posability. His face is unprinted. Honestly, the worst part about him is probably that he's unprinted. I don't know if Lego could have done anything about that, but it's decent. Not nearly as good as the new ones, though. But let's take a look at the next kind of a minifigure, kind of a not. The R2-D2 actually has a 2x4 plate built in him because he is serving drinks to Jabba's guests here. He has the two glasses right there. And besides that, it just uses the standard R2-D2 for the time. Of course, the body is very nice, except the head is not printed all the way around. That's just what Lego's limitations were. And this guy isn't too wonky, which I'm pretty happy about, so that's kind of cool. Next, we have the Gamorrean Guard, one of my favorite minifigures including this set. This guy is exclusive. This is, of course, the old version. Not nearly as awesome as the newer version, but it's still a nice little thing. Look back, I probably a little bit of dust on his weapon there, but there he just has a very standard weapon there. The molding is a lot like Jabba. I think it was good for the time, but the lack of printing can make him look a little bit creepy. And this guy definitely looks a little bit plain. I think especially giving him the same color to legs is a downfall. They should have given him a different color there. Next, we're going to look at the slave Leia here. Now, she looks very nice for especially in all standards, period, but she's the only she's the only figure in the set to have leg printing, which still wasn't too incredibly common. I like the shininess of the gold on here. No back printing though, but there is that bracket piece to connect her to her chain. And now the hair piece is not the best, though but for what they had, without Lego making a new element, that works. And just a very basic Princess Leia. Very nice body in terms of printing. No back printing, but she does have the bracket though. But you know, that's a nice figure. Probably in terms of detail, the best figure in this set. Here's Lando. Now, the same rule applies for Lando for these two, especially in terms of his helmet. The no printing makes it look so boring. Honestly, I don't think gray was the best color. The modern one is dark brown. At least the most recent one we've had is dark brown, which I just think just having this a dark brown would just look better. Here is what he looks like underneath. Standard Lando printing there. And I do like that torso printing a lot though. And he just has this very standard axe. And yeah, a very standard minifigure there. Here's a very basic Han Solo. He does have no accessory, but like and neither is the Leia, but once again, there you have those 4 extra blasters in these sets. In this set, very basic printing. This is this was I'm sure fine for the time, but definitely does not come up to how good Lego is nowadays. That might look a little bit different from his skin color just because the lighting, but I can assure you in printing they are very close. Just a little bit different, but very basic Han Solo there with his kind of smirk. Now, oh no, well I kind of just shake the table. Yeah, let's just get them out of there then if they're gonna fall over. Here is Luke Skywalker with his chrome hilt. I love chrome hilts. There, that just shines and looks beautiful. The blade is not as beautiful as kind of neonish, but extremely basic printing, very basic head. The hair works fine for that. Actually, the hair works quite well for what for the kind of Luke that they're portraying. So again, that's a fine face. It gives so much it gives Such less personality than I would have liked, though. But very, very basic printing on him. Can I stand him up? Oh, yeah, no, we're not going to risk that. Especially with that chrome hilt. Here is my favorite minifigure of all time. This is Boba Fett. Now, as soon as we have another Boba Fett back there, of course, the difference between these two is there's a little blur in the back. You can see they have, this guy is the new kind of gray, which kind of looks just a little bit better. This is my favorite minifigure of all time. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Don't want to make this video longer than it is, but he is just a very nice minifigure. Not technically included with the blaster, but I display him with it, so yeah. So we have a very nice selection of minifigures, and I did the math at some point. I do believe that just the minifigures on their own comes up to a little over $100. So probably definitely in terms of minifigures, my most collectible selection from a single set. But we took a little specifics. Let's take a look at the overview. Alright everyone, now that's just about for the in-depth look at this amazing Lego Star Wars set. But you know, I put all the figures in places just because I want to show you just how much room that you have on here. That's just about at around max capacity. Now look how much space is up there. Now this is a quick example of how that's just a little too low. You'd have to adjust it a little bit more to get Boba Fett to fly out. There's how they would sit in there, and you can see them looking at the viewport, and this just has so much space left in it. It feels almost a little bit too barren. Just maybe a second Gamorrean guard or something would have been nice, but overall, this is of course just an unbelievable set. You really get the entire thing here, unlike the more modern version of this set. So let me know your thoughts on the set in the comments down below. And I do hope to see you in my next video.